Just when South Africans thought the political menu was already full, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi walked into the restaurant and ordered something that is apparently not a political party, not a think tank, and definitely not another government committee. It is called the Batho Pele Convention. Ndlozi officially introduced the idea on the 25th of August 2026 through a document titled 11 Theses on the Call for Batho Pele Convention, Siyazenzela. That title alone sounds like something you need a PhD to read. Fortunately, Ndlozi has one. The rest of us have Google and determination. Today, we are counting down the top 10 things to know about Ndlozi's Batho Pele Convention. This is a developing proposal, so some details may change as the movement takes shape. Let us begin. Number 10. Batho Pele means people first.
A place of love, and there is no cause in the world that requires more love than the cause.
The name Batho Pele means people first. South Africans may recognize it as the name of the public service principles introduced during Nelson Mandela's administration in 1997. Those principles were supposed to promote consultation, transparency, courtesy, accessibility, and proper service delivery. In other words, citizens were supposed to enter a government office, receive help, and leave before their grandchildren came looking for them. Ndlozi argues that this original promise has been abandoned. His convention wants to revive the idea that government and society should serve ordinary people first. Yes, people first. Not politicians first, not tenders first, not the gentleman whose cousin registered a construction company on Monday and received a 50 million rand contract on Tuesday. Actual people. Number 9. It is based on 11 theses.
See, you must, when you rule over us, be...
Ndlozi launched the proposal through 11 theses outlining what he believes has gone wrong with South Africa and how citizens could respond. A thesis is basically a political argument wearing formal shoes. The document discusses the breakdown of trust between citizens and the democratic state, the loss of community power, dependence on politicians, and the need for ordinary people to organize themselves. Some of the titles are suitably dramatic. They include ideas such as the death of the covenant, the resurrection of agency, and renewed sovereignty. This is not a pamphlet telling people to attend a meeting next Saturday and bring 2 liters of Coke. Ndlozi is trying to present an entire political philosophy. 11 theses may sound like a lot, but this is South Africa. We have commissions with thousands of pages that somehow conclude with further investigation is required. At least he kept it to 11. Number 8. It is not supposed to be a political party.
EFF is a political party. I have handed over my...
According to Ndlozi, the Batho Pele Convention is not a political party. It is meant to be a permanent, non-partisan grassroots movement operating outside traditional party structures. That means it is currently not asking South Africans to vote for it, wear its t-shirt, or defend its president during a family braai. The proposal is based on the belief that political parties have become too focused on elections, positions, and internal power struggles. Citizens are remembered during campaign season and placed back in storage immediately after the votes are counted. The convention is supposed to bring together people from different political backgrounds around community problems. ANC supporters, DA supporters, EFF supporters, and people who support nobody because they have seen enough. Whether South Africans can organize without eventually forming rival factions and fighting over leadership positions remains to be seen. We have watched body corporates nearly collapse over parking spaces. Building a national, non-partisan movement may be slightly more difficult. Number 7. It is a bigger political move than Ndlozi leading the EFF.
The EFF, I have left party politics. EFF is a political party.
Mbuyiseni Ndlozi resigned from Parliament in January 2025 and later confirmed his departure from the EFF and party politics. After that, he moved into broadcasting and political commentary, including hosting Power Talk on Power 98.7. His departure created endless speculation. Would he join the ANC? Would he join the MK party? Would he start his own party? Would he release an album called Parliamentary Love Songs? The Batho Pele Convention provides the clearest answer so far. Ndlozi may have left conventional party politics, but he clearly did not leave public life. Instead of joining another party, he is proposing a movement that claims to operate beyond parties. So technically, everyone predicting that he would launch a political party was wrong. Unless this eventually becomes a political party, in which case those people will immediately return and say, "I told you so." Number 6. It is a response to what Ndlozi calls the Great State Paralysis.
President Ramaphosa's government did not just say two-state solution, didn't just
A central idea behind the convention is what Ndlozi describes as South Africa's Great State Paralysis. This refers to a government that formally exists but frequently appears unable to solve basic problems. The departments are there, the officials are there, the budgets are definitely there, but the street light has been blinking since the Zuma administration. Communities experience broken infrastructure, failing schools, unsafe neighborhoods, unemployment, and unreliable municipal services. Residents repeatedly submit complaints, sign petitions, and wait for officials to respond. Ndlozi's argument is that citizens have become spectators in their own democracy. They are allowed to complain, vote, and complain again 5 years later. The convention aims to challenge this cycle by encouraging communities to organize and act instead of waiting indefinitely for the state to respond. Basically, if the government says we are looking into it, the community should not spend the next 12 years looking back. Number 5. Siyazenzela is the central message.
themselves. And community development, research, advocacy.
The proposal carries the word Siyazenzela, which roughly communicates the idea that we do things for ourselves. This doesn't necessarily mean abandoning the state or allowing governments to mistake its responsibilities. Instead, it means rebuilding the ability of citizens to organize, solve problems, and hold institutions accountable. The convention imagines communities identifying their needs and combining their labor, knowledge, and resources. A neighborhood could organize around a damaged school, a neglected clinic, crime prevention, or failing infrastructure. It's a shift from asking, "When is somebody coming to save us?" to asking, "What can we begin doing together?" It sounds empowering. It also sounds like the government may hear Siyazenzela and respond, "Excellent. Please also repair the highway while you're busy." To be clear, community action should complement public services, not become a free replacement for the taxes people already pay. Because South Africans cannot pay tax, buy private security, install solar panels, repair the road, and then personally operate the local Home Affairs office. At some point, the state must also participate in the group project. Number 4. It wants financial independence. One of Ndlozi's major concerns is what
At the time of Michelle, the human condition is shaped by the
calls the problem of funded activism. Many civil society organizations depend on donors, political patrons, or wealthy institutions. That money can keep important projects alive, but it can also influence what organizations prioritize and whom they are willing to challenge. The Batho Pele Convention is supposed to be self-sufficient. In theory, this would allow it to act independently without waiting for approval from donors, political parties, or billionaires who suddenly become passionate about democracy after receiving a tax benefit. Financial independence sounds attractive, but that raises a major practical question. Who pays? A permanent national movement requires venues, transport, administration, communication, and organizers. Revolutionary energy is free, petrol is not. So, the convention will therefore need a transparent funding model. Otherwise, South Africans will eventually ask the national question, who sponsored the catering? Number 3. It wants citizens to stop behaving like petitioners. One of the theses focuses on moving citizens from petitioners to active agents.
A place of love, and there is no cause in the world that requires more love than the cause.
Ndlozi's argument is that South Africans have been trained to constantly appeal upward. They write to councillors, they approach departments, they tag ministers online, they post a photograph of a pothole and hope it becomes famous enough to receive government attention. The convention wants to replace this helpless relationship with organized citizen power. Communities would not simply request change individually, they would build structures capable of applying pressure, creating solutions, and making collective decisions. Think of it as changing the citizen's role from person holding a complaint form to shareholder demanding answers. Of course, South Africans are already skilled at applying pressure. The difficult part is applying it without burning the same library everyone will need on Monday. Number 2. It is bigger than a once-off conference.
Your party held a very important conference. We never saw you there.
Despite the word convention, this is not supposed to be one enormous gathering where people deliver speeches, take photographs, and disappear until the next election. Ndlozi describes it as a permanent grassroots social movement. The convention would presumably provide a broad national platform, while the real organizing would happen inside communities. That distinction is important. South Africa has never suffered from a shortage of conferences. We have conferences about economic growth, conferences about unemployment, and conferences discussing why the previous conference failed to reduce unemployment. The real test will be whether Batho Pele creates functioning local structures after the speeches end. Can it organize people consistently? Can it solve measurable problems? Can it remain democratic? Can it avoid becoming the Mbuyiseni Ndlozi fan club with matching golf shirts? A movement promising to return power to citizens must eventually prove that citizens, not one famous personality, genuinely control it. If it creates transparent, democratic, and effective community organizations, it could become an interesting new force in South African public life. If it turns into another organization dominated by
Number 1. It is still an idea that must prove itself. The most important thing to know is that the
within the mass democratic movement. In those circles, President
Batho Pele Convention is still at an early stage. Ndlozi has presented a political argument and issued a call for organization. He has not yet demonstrated a nationwide structure capable of delivering the ambitious change described in the 11 Theses. The proposal raises important questions. How will leaders be selected? How will money be managed? How will disputes be resolved? What prevents political parties from capturing local branches? And how does a movement remain non-partisan when its founder is one of the most recognizable former party politicians in the country? South Africans have heard many beautiful political promises. We have seen manifestos with more fantasy than a Marvel film. The Batho Pele Convention will therefore be judged by what it builds, not only by what it writes. If it creates transparent, democratic, and effective community organizations, it could become an interesting new force in South African public life. If it turns into another organization dominated by speeches, internal factions, and leadership battles, then the people may once again come first in the queue to leave. And that was our countdown of the top 10 things to know about Ndlozi's Batho Pele Convention. Do you think this could become a genuine people-powered movement, or is South Africa witnessing the slow launch of another political party with extra academic language? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe to MzansiVerseTV for more South African countdowns, political drama, and national developments explained with slightly more humor than Parliament usually provides.